coming out of my screen? I guess it might just be the intro, cause quiet. And here we are! Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo. Although I'm playing it using the Switch and the Joy-Cons and the little handle thing. Which is not an ideal way to play it. However, I tried hooking up my GameCube adapter earlier, and it turns out, and this is a problem with all GameCube adapters and the Nintendo Switch, it just sees it as a generic USB controller. So, relative to one of those, the GameCube is missing quite a few buttons, and you cannot rebind them. So I didn't have a select button, which is necessary to play this game. And I think you have to do some serious shenanigans to actually use, like, a PS4 controller on the Switch. You have to, like, have a custom... Oh my god. Hang on a second, I want to finish what I'm saying. I think you have to have, like, a custom adapter or something to do that before I read Mad Catz 2 Revenge of the Cats. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. I actually have, like, a very small Mad Catz GameCube controller somewhere, and I think it has, like, a macro button on it. I should have got that out, and I should have seen if it does something a little different. But, unfortunately, I didn't think that through. We're starting on File 2, because there's already some stuff in File 1 where I was testing things out. Let's set up our controls, because... the default controls in Super Metroid are not exactly what you would call ideal. In fact, why didn't I just think to do this earlier with the... Hey, guess who just snapped out of stupid bitch disease? There might be a bit of screen shit here. Would you believe that I graduated from college? Would you believe that I graduated from 8th grade even? Jesus. I didn't think that through. To be honest, that's never a thing that I've ever thought about changing, so I guess it almost makes sense. So... oh yeah, it thinks this is controller 2, doesn't it? Well... time to tell that controller to get lost. Alright, back to it, I suppose. Yeah, excuse the fact that I'm an idiot. I didn't even think about that at the time, and here we are. So the rest of that can stay. We don't need the item cancel button. That is not useful. I was about to be like, does that controller X-ray scope? No, it doesn't. That would be really stupid. Let's start the game.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Good old Super Nintendo sampled speech. It was very rarely very good. So we finally get a bit of flashbacking because this is on a system that's hardy enough to have a plot for a game like this, I guess. Looks at the RPGs that existed in the 8-bit era. Oh, God, the flashbacks. Oh, fuck Metroid 1. Fought him on SR388. And yeah, so they're keeping up this plot line of the Metroid larva. Also, we get to see Samus's big shoulders, which I think those were present in the previous cutscene too, which is... it doesn't make sense canonically. They gave Samus the big shoulders in Metroid 2, so that way you could identify when she has the various suit. Alright, so here's what the deal is. We're handing over the baby Metroid. For some reason, we got rid of our Various suit. What the hell are we doing? And oh, it turns out, hey, maybe killing off the Metroids wasn't the most useful idea because we can exploit the species for creating energy. You know, if we could just plug some jellyfish into a couple of wall outlets and produce a lot of electricity, that would be cool. It would be better than fossil fuels, that's for fucking sure. Unfortunately, it turns out that a lot of people really want that Metroid, and we're going to be dealing with some of our usual customers once again. But oh, I'm jumping ahead, aren't I? So yeah, we pretty much recognize the controls of this game already. We know how this works. However, there's also wall jumping we can do, which is very hard. It's not an easy timing to pull off. That is new to this game, I believe, but it's also a good way to climb up and down if you're good at it, but I'm not. The L button on our default controls lets us aim down at a 45-degree angle. Yes, we have 8-way shooting in this game, which is great. R button lets us aim upward. If we hold, for me, the X button, but the default is the Y button, I think, we can dash. So we can run faster with that. That's going to create a very awkward grip if I use it all the time, so we're probably going to see actually a lot of me just walking around like a person who doesn't know what the dash button is, I guess. And I'm sure that it will absolutely infuriate at least a few people, but just think about my controller grip and how it's not good for this kind of setup. Hey, look, there's the Metroid capsule. Let's just pick it up. Pick it up. Oh, yikes! Oh, dear God, it's Ridley. What are you doing here, Chief? See, Ridley, of course, is the boss of the Space Pirates. Well, acting boss, I guess. Mother Brain is the real boss, but Mother Brain is a thing in a glass case. And, of course, Ridley heard about Metroids and he's like, I want some of that again, because that worked so well last time. Anyway, we cannot win this fight. This is just here to be a bit of a time waster, basically. However, we can soften him up a decent amount. It doesn't carry through to when we actually fight him much later in the game, but it feels good or something. I don't know. Once you hit 29 energy or less, so when you get the beeps, Ridley just decides to piss off. And no matter what the outcome of the fight, Ridley does do that thing where he flies into the screen. And it's time to escape. We have 1 minute to get ourselves out of Sirius Station. Thankfully, that's not really a hard task at all. There's a bunch of stuff going on, but it doesn't really cause us real issues. It just sort of gives us hit stun, but we don't take damage from it. Also, yes, the door blew up. Fun fact, with certain glitches, you can make your way back here, but you won't be able to go anywhere because the door will be, you know, blast welded shut, basically. And instead of the colony getting dropped on Zebus, it just blows up. Let's head back to our old stomping ground, Planet Zebus. Zebes. Zebus. I am not 100% certain of the pronunciation there. Because I don't remember a lot of things. And hey, look, we're not doing it on a randomizer this time. We're not a Tuhu coming out of the space boat. Space boat? Why did I say space boat? Spaceship is clearly what I meant, but I think I have to call them space boats forever now. But it turns out the electricity is off when we get out of the ship. So, time to make our way downstairs. Hey. And of course, the Morph Ball is right where it was in Metroid 1. Or as it's called in this game, the Morphing Ball. I've been a little bit dicey on the name of that thing over the years, but in this game it's the Morphing Ball. I guess it's better than just calling it the Marumari in the original game's manual. Which they did for some reason. And you see, red door. We can't open that without missiles. But we can use our new 8-directional shot function to go down here to where Kraid's lair usually would be. And instead, all we find is some missiles. Yes! Select the missile and press the B button. Simple instructions. Don't waste them in here because otherwise you don't have a ton of options to recover them at the moment. And you need 5 to open that red door. Just like in previous Metroid games, 5 missiles to crack open the missile doors. And this room, there's a bunch of stuff in here aside from Ridley's webcam that he's had set up for some reason. But most importantly for now is that we can get ourselves another missile pack. We can also get me goofing around with the control stick a little bit, because, you know, GameCube controller. I do like the GameCube controller. I don't think it's as good as a lot of people like to say it is. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, it's better than DualShock 2 and everything. It's like, it has its advantages, but it also has many disadvantages. For a start, 2 less buttons, can't click the sticks. The D-pad is dog shit, you know. At least it's not like the kind of love that people have for the Wavebird. I don't get that. Then again, I've never been a proponent of wireless controllers. Although that said, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts using the controller on wireless the whole time, and that's pretty good. You know, that works now. I don't know about what wireless controllers were like back in the 2000s, but I can't imagine the Wavebird being as mind-blowing as people act like it is. Probably because, well, people are a little over the top about the Wavebird. Anyway, we got a nice shaft to climb. You may recognize this as the exit shaft for Turian from Metroid 1. So Criteria is basically right on top of this area. I don't know how all this dirt got here that fast. Maybe it was just from it being such a big boom. Maybe we're actually 2,000 years removed or something. But the power's back on. We've got enemies around. And we've got some rooms we can explore. So in here, this looks pretty easy. But, oh, there's blocks in the way. And we don't have bombs. This game So, I didn't really get to comment on it for some reason in Metroid 2, but Metroid 2 featured a much more naturalistic flow of exploration than Metroid 1 did, by a pretty wide margin. And this game, I think, really improves on that even further. Plus, it also gives you the X-ray scope later on, so, like, if there's something that you just have a suspicion about, just pull out the X-ray scope. And I think that this game does a good job at teaching you that as a basic mechanism of how you explore and get shit done. It is a much better game than its predecessors. This, very seriously, this is the kind of game that really makes you go, oh, hey, the rest of those games do deserve to exist, basically. Also, we have an improvement in terms of how energy pickups are presented. Here's a save point. The saving sequence is a little bit longer than in Metroid 2, but it's not like writing to a memory card. Actually, saying that, the saving in Prime is pretty fast. It's more like it's not like saving to a hard drive. There we go. Because, well, actually, do any of the previous gen, and it is previous gen now because we have the Xbone Series X, we have the PS5. I mean, technically we have the PS5. The PS5 exists. It has been released. A small number of people do own them. But, like, do the PS4 or the Xbox One have, like, SSDs, or are they still on moving part hard disk drives? Anyway, we are actually going to save over... Well, no, we're not going to save. We just want our energy back, though. And we shall see why in just a moment. Because we have the Morph Ball. We are kind of blocked, though, because you'll find if you shoot your beam or you shoot missiles at the blocks over on the left part of this weird L-shaped room, right over, I can't point. I'll just have to walk over to it and demonstrate. But, over here you see all this stuff? You can tell there's these little cracks here that should probably indicate to you that there's something amiss about this. But, you can't shoot it open. Missiles don't work. Missiles are not used for breaking stuff open in this game. This isn't Metroid Fusion. So, what are you supposed to do? Well, you're supposed to explore the rest of the area, basically. And thus we get a very simple microcosm of what the basic gameplay and puzzle solving, as it were, of Metroid is like. You run into a wall, and then you have to figure out how to get past it. And so you go looking around the rest of the room until you find something that'll get you past the dang wall. Give me the energy, please. There we go. Alright, now... let's get a couple of missiles back. Unfortunately, we didn't get full missiles, which is what I would like. Because there's a boss in here. See, for some reason, this door is still open. That should probably strike you as a little weird, but hey, who cares? Item, right? And it's the bomb. That's nice to have that now. Roll up, set it with the B button for... oh, the door's closing. Oh, can't open it. Oh god, what? Oh! This thing scared the shit out of me as a kid, by the way. And by a kid, I think I first played this on an emulator, which would have been on Z-SNES when I was like 9 or something. This is Torizo. This is our first real boss. You just shoot it in the chest a bunch with your missiles or your power beam. Oddly enough, you don't use the bomb whatsoever in that fight. If you roll at it, I believe it leaps backward and does that barfing attack that we saw earlier, where it shoots a bunch of explosives at us that can be broken for items. If you're lucky. That's a big if. So now that we've picked that up, make our way back up here. And you can see this is an area where we use the bomb to escape, because otherwise we can't break these blocks. But you knew that already. Now we could go over there and we could proceed, but there's a little bit of free items we can get here before we do that. And our first one is going to come in over here. Hey, free missile tank. Nice. We're going to want a lot of missiles because, well, it's faster than using the charge beam, which we don't have yet. Oh, right. Whoops. Sorry, guys. I'm spoiling the existence of the charge beam. I'm doing so bad at this commentating thing, I didn't even make a Why Can't Metroid Crawl reference earlier, but I think just acknowledging that existing is probably as much as you need to do. Let's go this way. We are going back to the Turian entrance here. And there's some stuff that we can get. I believe this is going to lead us somewhere that we can't actually do anything right now, but we can see that it's here. Yeah, yellow door. We need a power bomb for that. Oh yeah, bomb jumping returns, of course. But what we're looking for here is we are going to roll up, drop down here, drop a lot of bombs. Again, this is something that you would probably find with the X-ray scope, or just by chance of like, oh, I'm going to blow up whatever I feel like. But we get ourselves a missile pack. That's not bad at all. I mean, at this point in the game, why not? It's free real estate, right? And there we go. There's all the space pirates down. And the door is open to us once again. We are going back to Blue Brinstar for a moment. This is indeed the place from Metroid 1. Although it's a little bit funnily positioned of an elevator there. You can see Brinstar. The name is the same. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we played that game and that didn't show it anywhere in the game, but trust me on this one. Yes, this wall, we need a power bomb to get through there. So that's going to be a bit. But also, I think there's something we can get here with the bombs. If I recall correctly, which admittedly I probably don't. We can also see some familiar enemy loadouts from Metroid 1, and we can see that the screes explode when we shoot them now, which is very rude of them. Can't reach that energy tank right now. We don't jump high enough. We need the high jump boots. And yeah, I don't think there is actually anything here. We just need to come back with the... well, the power bombs to get rid of that, and the speed booster to get up there. But we saw that when I streamed some Metroid, some Super Metroid randomizer. I almost called it Metroid Super. That's not correct. Oh well, back we go, back we go, back we go! It's no longer necessary to kill every single space pirate in this room, but they're in the way. And it's really easy to just let it happen, so why take a chance with getting Shot by their weird zigzag lasers. Their arms, they kind of make me think they're like mantis people or something. Yeah, they look a lot different than they did in Metroid Prime as well. Let's see if we can't get a good look at the face next time instead of just... they got kind of a bird face thing going on a little bit. Like a very squished bird face. Maybe they're like descended from the Chozo. That would be an interesting bit of lore. Which is not explored. Oh well. Also, they do 15 damage to you when they hit you, which is quite a bit. Is there anything over here? No. There's something over here, which I think is a locked door. Yeah. That'll be where we come out from that power bomb pathway down below. So nothing really to worry about there. But we've got it on the map. So that way I can forget it later. I could swear by this point we had like one more missile tank though. It's very possible that I've missed one. Which admittedly, we're not going for 100%. We're not even going for a good ending this time, but... You know, if it happens, it happens. I'm more familiar with this game than I am with either of the other two that we've played so far. And I think I'm probably more familiar still with Metroid Fusion. But we'll get to that. We'll get to Metroid Fusion when we get to Metroid Fusion. That game is rough. See, this game, they're just giving us the free energy tank right in the middle of the path. Just accept it. It's free money. And by money, I mean energy. Anyway, these green space pirates will attempt to block our shots, but they cannot stand up to missiles. They're a little too not durable for that. And let's go ahead and open up this pathway that we don't need to go through for a while yet. Oh, you see all this wrecked metal? It kind of looks like the Torian stuff from before. And this funky looking statue. Hey, look, it's Ridley. And Kraid. And a couple of others. What are those two? Well, we'll meet them later. And both of them will probably suck to fight, because we'll have to fight both of them, because that's the kind of game this is. And away we go. I don't think we can do anything at all to these white zoomers. Which, you know, take that line out of context if you need to, but... seriously, they are indestructible. And this is another section of the Brinstar area, but you can see it is full of greenery. This is something we haven't really had a good look at in the Metroid franchise yet. It is really neat looking. Got some pretty chill music too. I really like the music in this area. Oh, I wasted a missile. Whatever. That door, I think that's a save point. Right, we got enemies coming out of a pipe. In this game, they are a hell of a lot less annoying than they were in Metroid 1. We've also got a free missile tank down there. And this room, oh, this room is infamous, by the way, for having a great opportunity to engage in a pretty interesting glitch. I'll see if I can pull it off. However, the odds of that happening are pretty low because I'm not good at it. I don't have a whole lot of practice. I haven't played this game in a while, and even then I was not super great at the glitch anyway. Yeah, see, we're not going fast enough. Basically, if you start gaining speed while running, and you jump into the air and you turn into a ball, you will not lose your speed, and so you can get through certain things that you're supposed to use the speed booster for, which is what we're supposed to do here. And if you pull it off, it is a massive sequence break, but the odds of me pulling that off are pretty low. However, I'll give it one more shot on the off chance that maybe, just maybe, I can do this. I think we actually kind of want to come in, like, jumping as we enter. And I think I stopped there, but whatever. We'll come back to this later, and we'll be able to get what's over there. It's a super missile, which is an item that we're going to get after a boss pretty soon. So we're not doing a terribly huge sequence break, but it is a sequence break nonetheless. With that, a speedrunner, who would usually be the type of person who's doing it, can just skip that next boss. And that cuts out a good chunk of the game, because it's a bit of a tedious fight. But again, we will see that in greater depth when we get there. This little chunk could probably be a little bit thinner, so that way you could tell that it's not just a dead end, but I don't know. I think you figure it out once you realize that the door doesn't open after killing everything. And there's our map for the area. Pretty big, huh? A lot of interesting stuff going on. How are you supposed to get down there, and what's this meridian? Why is it just hanging out in the middle of the thing? But, oh, that must be a boss. Oh, there's a lot to do in Brinstar. Yes, this game is pretty big. That said, I think it's 3 hours is the time limit you need to beat in order to get the best ending. It's not the most strict thing in the world. It is probably a little bit easier to pull that off on your first time in this game than in the previous two. This game is definitely a lot easier than previous Metroid games, and you can tell they're being quite generous with save stations for a start here. And they gave that one pipe full of enemies. That is really easy to do, so you know, a little bit of generosity there already too. Free refills. Free refills. This room is one where I had a really bad time with this early on. So, as a kid anyway. These fire fleas. If you kill them, the room starts getting darker, as you probably noticed. It's a pretty nice looking effect. I mean, not the nicest thing on the Super NES, but still pretty neat. And there we go. We killed all of them. The room is pitch black. There was no reason for me to do that. And at the bottom of this, it's just a missile refill station. What a useless thing to have, right? Well, sometimes you might want it. As for me, well, I had 10 missiles. I was probably fine. And I screwed up the jump, landed in the spikes. You can see that those spikes do a ton of damage, but also look at how long our invincibility frames are. This is a game where they actually realized, oh hey, those are good things to have. And we can accomplish certain damage over time effects a lot better than just like, hey, here's you taking damage with one iframe and you don't get knockback. Instead, they're like HP draining type of things. But we'll see that in more depth later on, once again. Just blow through this chunk of wall here. Nice and simple. And this is a thing we need the speed booster for, but we actually don't want to go down there. I think there's like just a health station down there, which is no big deal. Especially because you have to do something that costs health to go back up. But we will see that later, I suppose. If I remember. Hey. Yeah, let's refill this little pipe here. Now, this is a room where there's some stuff you can do if you're really good. I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm so out of practice and doing this on a controller that I've never really used for this game, but if you can pull it off right, you can wall jump off of this and go up there. And you saw the area where those metal blocks are. Those are grapple blocks, by the way. That's for use with the grapple beam, which is the thing we don't have yet. Yeah, see, you kind of have to do 2 wall jumps in a row to pull it off, but you can get that missile pack while not having the grapple beam. It's pretty nice of them to do that for you. But for now, it's not going to make or break our run. We have 25 missiles, which is... we can do better than that, but 25 is still pretty decent, you know? Especially because we're going to get something that is going to ease our missile needs quite a bit in just a second. And no, it's not this missile pack that puts us to 30, although, you know, let's not complain about that either. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. Drop down here. And we get the Charge Beam! The Charge Beam is a fantastic piece of equipment that they give us in this game and in nothing before it. You just charge up your beam and you get a big shot that does a lot of damage. It's pretty much the equivalent to a missile with a single charge shot. This green door, we can't open that yet. We need the super missiles. Also, there's a pretty nice feature with the charge beam. And it's not that killer bat, but... yeah, check that out. If we somersault into an enemy while we're charging a charge beam, it is the equivalent of a screw attack hit. Maybe not the same amount of damage, but darn close, and it is just really, really good. So the charge beam probably is like the best upgrade in the game in a lot of ways. It's the most utility overall. There's some special moves that you can do with the charge beam that I'll see if I can show off. But if not, well, that's because I forgot. Dang it. Alright, roll up. Go in here. We got another save station. I'm actually going to wait to do this. Because it's a save point. It's always there, except in one part of the game where they go offline for a brief period. But we'll find about that. We'll find out about that when we get there. Alright, so these big flying buggos, we can... they die to a single charge shot. That's not bad. I thought they were a lot more durable than that, but I was incorrect. Although I do still usually like to give them the old charge tackle. Crack open both doors, and we go back over here. And we save. Because we're about to get into a boss fight. We may as well do the... you know, all those other parts first, right? Hey. You dick. Give me back my 6 energy. There we go. Unfortunately, part of my weird controls are because I'm moving it with the stick. And that's why I prefer to just charge tackle these things. Or just use a charge beam shot, which I forgot was an instant kill on them as well. And of course, these things do 20 damage, so it didn't give me any energy whatsoever. What a jerk. Alright. Alright. Here is Spore Spawn. And you can see this room is sealed at the bottom with a green door. We cannot get out. However, it's not a lock. This is, I guess, to preserve the one-way nature of this for reasons that we will find out in a moment, which I already kind of alluded to. Oh, jeez. Yeah, these little spore things. Oh, that's another thing you can do with the charge beam, by the way, is you turn into a ball while you're charging up your beam, and you drop a bunch of bombs everywhere. It's not very useful, but I like it anyway. Now, Spore Spawn is not the easiest thing in the world to tank. The way I was just like, hey, yeah, let me take hits and keep my charge shot. Because we only have access to the one energy tank right now. And, I mean, sure, it doesn't do a ton of damage. It's not like it's a boss in Metroid Fusion, but you still don't want to be taking that many pokes. You may or may not be able to tell that it is getting a little darker in color as we shoot it. That is going to give us an indicator of the fact that it's getting closer and closer to death. That and the fact that it's going to start moving faster will surely, yeah, like that. It's definitely moving a lot snappier now. And quite identifiably so. Yeah, I think this is our last hit that we need to deliver to it. And you can tell this thing is just going now. Aw, dang it. I was a little too low. Oh, we still gotta do some more damage. This is another reason why missiles are really good, by the way, is because you don't have to waste time charging. You can just snap them on and go. Like that. Also, minor thing that I really like is that when the charge beam is fully charged... Oh, by the way, Spore Spawn is dead. But it constantly makes the somersault noise. I just like that for some reason. There we go. That's 2 bosses down. And look at this pipe. It's not putting anything out there. So we jump through. We fall down. What do we think we are? Mario? And we get the super missile. Oh, yes. Now, this thing is nowhere near as good as it is in Metroid Prime, but it's pretty damn strong. And to give you an idea of how strong it is, the screen shakes and it looses a couple of little enemies, too. That is definitely not messing around. Right, so we plant a bomb here. And you see that block? That means hit it with a super missile. It's just like those power bomb and speed booster blocks that we saw earlier. Also, yes, it is still possible to lose your somersault in this game, but it is generally a lot harder to, because it depends more on you losing all that momentum. which is a little more difficult. They've tuned up the controls and everything to make things a little bit easier for you. Well, maybe not necessarily easier, but more playable just in general. Another pipe full of enemies. Also, one thing that does suck about the charge beam is that you lose your ability to rapid fire, but let me show you something. You go on the Samus screen, you can equip and unequip any of your stuff, like, at all. So you want your rapid fire back and you don't care about the charge beam? There you go. However, I care immensely about the charge beam, so I'm turning that back on. Oh wow, that thing actually hit me? Are you kidding me? Oh, that's a tough jump. I may need to come back here with a high jump boost to get that. I think it's just a... I'm pretty sure it is just a missile pack, but still. Yeah, we'll come back with the high jump boots, which, you know, those are returning, obviously. I don't think any of the 2D games... Well... Okay, saying that... Yes, the 2D games do lose a couple of items here and there from the lineup. Like, the long beam is no longer a going concern after Metroid and its remake, because that's just built into Samus's gun forever now. The Spazer from this game and Metroid 2 have been changed into the wide beam in Metroid Fusion. And aside from that, I can't think of anything else that really gets close. Actually, wait, there's no grapple or X-ray scope in Metroid Fusion, so there you go. Or reserve tanks, for that matter. So, never mind what I said. Actually, quite a few items disappear from the lexicon in the 2D games. I just tended to forget every single one of them, apparently. Alright, so no going back for now, but there is a new area of Brinstar for us to explore. This area is got all this red stuff going on. It's got some pretty cool music, too. I don't know how well you'll be able to hear it, but of course, the Metroid series soundtracks in general are very atmospheric, which don't lend themselves too well to, well, not even just to me streaming them, but to anyone streaming them, really. Over here is going to be an energy refill, yes? Yes. That's an energy refill. Energy recharge completed. Let's keep going this way. And we've got water. Because, of course we do. Water, of course, does funny things to Samus's ability to control. And we've got these bitey guys, too. I think they're called Yapping Maws. I don't know a lot of the enemy names, but I remember that one just because it always struck me as really weird, and it's like, oh, you know what? That's alright. So here's another thing where they really want you to have the high jump. Let's see if we can... If we can do a good wall jump here, which, you know, fat fucking chance there, because I'm terrible at the wall jump! There we go. Alright, so minor sequence break here. Pop this thing open, And we should be getting here the Spazer. Remember this thing from Metroid 2? This is what I used throughout most of the game, because it has a nice wide hitbox, and in this game that has not changed. Whoo! Look at that! Should be pretty easy to hit some stuff with that. Shouldn't have no problems from here on. At least not when it comes to that. This block can be destroyed with something, right? Yeah, bomb. Okay. Yeah, and this is how you can find out that this is here. And then you go, oh boy, I really want those high jump boots. Ooh, check out this glass tube. This place always looked really cool. We're not going to be back there for a while in terms of anything useful. Also, check out that fat laser beam from the Spazer. Actually, that's strange, isn't it? It's a different map. So this will be that Meridia area, huh? I guess because, you know, Mare, sea, underwater. Let's go. And of course, the existence of that area over on the map, that'll tell you, in this case, about the presence of a secret, but we are not ready to do that just yet. This is Norfair. Norfair is, of course, the hot area in the Metroid universe, so we have to be very careful where we go, because Samus cannot stand up to high temperatures right now without the Varia. Excuse me. Yeah, see, this is a hot room. Look at our energy just disappear. It's okay, I didn't need that 50 energy anyway. We'll get it back. It'll be fine. Actually, we will get it back, because I just remembered the room that we're looking for in order to proceed, which will be over here. We open this red door, and see, there it is. Free energy tank. Once again, the generosity on display here is real, my friends. Down we go. And yeah, see, we can't get up there except with the wall jump, but I guess you're not supposed to know about that for now. But we can open that wall, and we can get ourselves the high jump boots. And those do exactly what you think they do. Check out these hops we got. Oh, yes. Samus may only have one functioning arm in that body armor, but she could still be a pretty excellent basketball player, that's for sure. Just nothing but dunks, though, right? Ooh, right. This room, we have to kill all of these fire zoomers that are hanging out. And I guess it was just the one. Well, that makes things easier. Now let's get out of here, because we can't do a whole lot. We can't even use the save point, which is behind that yellow door. Alright. So, to figure out that you're supposed to go this way, you just bomb the wall, you find your super missile block, you hit it, you go in. Let me turn those high jump boots off for a second here, to show you that you get here, and you're supposed to go, oh, what? I can't get up there? And you go and look for another way in. Even doing a wall jump is a bit of a tough ask, although I think a lot of speedrunners are able to do that at the high level. And so here we are in this area. And you can see you're a little bit walled in here. I think if you just start blowing stuff up, yeah, eventually you find the solution. And this door, we can't go in here just yet. Also, wow, that looks really freaky, I'm not gonna lie. Because that whole area of just background down there. You can see we killed everything in there and we're not allowed in that room yet. Amazing. Really rude. Speaking of rude, those enemies not giving me any health. Drop down here. Yeah, I'm stepping forward a little early, but in this room we've got some more space pirates, and oh, we're getting the spikes. Oh, it's Kraid. We're fighting Kraid again. Wow. No boomerang cutters though, but this Kraid can be killed with a single super missile, I think. So, you know, not the real Kraid, but we'll get to that in a bit. Ooh, hey, I sense a freebie. Alright, let's see something real nice here. Oh, it's refill stations. That's pretty good. No need for missiles, though, because that only gives us regular missiles. Oh, ew. What do you think that was? Over here, we got this eyeball thing in front of the door. That's only supposed to take one super missile, but I fucked that up pretty badly. I think the shot got blocked by one of its shots. Well, in we go. I'm totally not afraid. There is probably something real scary here, though. Oh boy, that earthquake. Oh boy, that music change. Oh ye gods. Oh, it's Kraid, alright. Oh, but I think he's been taking some serious growth pills here, because whoa. And that's not even the half of it. Woo! This is like a Godzilla villain. And yeah, you can't shoot through Kraid's hand at all. He is just blocking that. He puts that thing up. I swear, especially when you're ready to bust out one of your very few super missiles, that hand goes up. It's like he's doing a lull emote at you. And apparently there isn't a Kraid lull emote on Frankerface Z that is exactly that. Which absolutely astounds me, because I know that people on Twitch who do those type of emotes, whether for FFZ or for their own account, they absolutely love just doing snow clones of existing emotes. So you will get people who just do all kind of, you know, variants on LOL and all the other stuff. So I'm surprised that that doesn't exist. Whatever. Kraid wasn't a super hard boss, especially because we just kept shooting him with the charge beam. But also, we get the Varia suit for that. Oh, yes. Welcome back to the land of big shoulders. Hello, Retro. How are you doing? We got ourselves a really nice upgrade here. He boot too big for he goddamn screen. Oh, yeah, I should probably, let me just show off that you can feed Mini Kraid a single super missile. There you go. One and done. I've been playing 100% Orange Juice. I still have that installed. I haven't played it in a while. I got it for, well, I'd say I got it for very cheap, but obviously it's not a very expensive game. And I think I actually bought one of the character packs. That's how they justify the cheap price, of course, is, you know, they can get you with all those character packs. But I haven't seen any of the groups that I played it with around too much lately. And of course, there were a couple of times when we were just stuck doing some of the super hard boss type of ones, and it's just like, ooh, this might have ground on all of us a little bit, because, you know, success is a bit of a, involves a bit of luck. Oh wow, that is some amazingly terrible timing for that to happen, just, and repeatedly too, wow. Well, you know, as they say, the game knows, so if it can screw you, it will, right? So here we go, into this room, and yes, these things. We haven't gotten to see these yet because they are normally only seen in the, I can missile, or super missile? There we go. That works. Yeah, those things are normally only seen, well, we could have seen them earlier, but they're usually like hidden in blocks and are pretty rare enemies besides. Or they'll be in areas where they're very inconvenient to deal with. Okay, you're just gonna go around killing people. Yeah, yeah. Under the circumstances, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So with the various suit on, we can go into the warm places here in Norfair. And we can get stuck in here because we can't run fast enough. Alright. There's a way out of this, right? Yeah, right there. See, they don't screw you completely. You don't have to reset. Oh, that sounds about like what I would expect out of Orange Juice, is just friendship ending almost. Or a reasonable facsimile thereof. Just like good old Mario Party. Was there a Mario Party game released recently? I can't remember. And if there was it any good? Oh yeah, by the way, I haven't shown this off before because it's usually less than ideal. You can open a red door with a single super missile. Super Mario Party, that might be the one that I'm thinking of. I think that one got kind of mixed reception. Not as much as the one that was like, oh, just the top 100 minigames, because, well, you do that, you're not going to include everybody's favorite, and it's just kind of a boondoggle to begin with. Oh boy, yeah. Oh, do I remember those. The ones where you've got like the toboggan and you have to both be in the same rhythm. No, it wasn't a toboggan. It was something that was more for crossing flatland, but I remember that, and I had the worst time with it, especially because I was in a lot of instances really only able to play the Mario Party games like by myself most of the time. So, you know, you have to match the rhythm of the AI, and the AI in Mario Party, whoo, boy. Oh, what a fucking disaster that thing is, right? Let's pick up that missile pack. Mario Party 8 wasn't bad either. Mario Party 8 was the one on the Wii U, was it? Because 7, I think, was the one on the Wii, right? Oh, no, it was on the Wii? Okay, well, maybe there were multiple on the Wii then. That's a very distinct possibility. Oh, 7 was for the Cube. Okay. I thought the Cube ones ended at 6. I was incorrect. That shows you what I know, and it's not often very much. Or I certainly don't remember anyway. Get up there. There we go. Bit of a weird jump to be making, but we made it anyway. There's some items that we can get from going around this general route. This way leads to a place that we can't get through right now. Yeah, because... Well, I mean, I think we could get through it, because I think it might all be bomb blocks, but why bother? They want us to have something else, and also there is something that we can't get to because we need to be able to shoot through walls. So as I say, find the puzzles, then find the solutions. The old classic Metroid game design really coming to its own here. This room, I don't believe there's anything of any real note in, but maybe if we had the X-ray scope, we could see. It doesn't have a little dot in it, so it probably doesn't have a hidden item, at least. If it has anything, it'll be a secret path. Oh yeah, and of course lava still hurts you in the Varia suit. I think in this game, the way they handle harmful liquids goes that you are immune to lava in the gravity suit, but not to acid or something like that. But in Metroid Fusion, you're just immune to any of the harmful liquids, but I don't think there's really a whole lot besides lava in that game, so... immune to harmful liquids after you get the gravity suit, that is. Yeah, there's certainly that going for you. You know, Samus can survive in the lava for a moment. Doesn't want to, but, you know. Mega Man just has no heat resistance whatsoever, apparently. Yeah, it just went... Nope. Later, sucker. I was a little too slow for it. Alright, so this is the bottom of the wave beam room, I believe. Right, we're gonna see that we can't get up there right now. We have to go in from the other side. And even then, getting that right now would be a pretty massive sequence break. But I will let you have a quick look at the room. you know, because we're here. May as well. Or is this one not, it's not a sequence break? Crud. It's definitely not me showing off any skill, but I think in the other half of the room, there are grapple blocks. Which, of course, we don't have the grapple beam, so we're not supposed to be able to do that yet. However, I think there's a pretty non-difficult way if you've practiced to cheeseball it, so... yeah, we'll take a whack at it. We got our missile pack here. Okay, so this is something we can just sort of we can wall jump up there if we're good at it, but of course you're talking to the wrong person for that. And now I gotta figure out how to get the hell out of here, because ouch, 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 those spikes. And yeah, that weird egg sack looking enemy, that'll give us a nice recharge. Yeah, so grapple beaming over there is not going to be much of a thing for us. And of course we got hit in the back from the red ball, because we didn't kill it. Obviously. Thanks. What am I playing it on? I'm playing it using the Nintendo Switch Online thing. So it's showing you a bunch of things that are like, hey, hit these buttons for doing it with the Joy-Cons, but I'm using a GameCube controller, so I can't do a lot of that stuff, actually. I technically don't have a select button. My item select is bound to the Y button on the GameCube controller instead. Because I tried setting that up earlier. I mentioned this at the top of the stream, but you weren't there, so, you know, whatever. That when you plug in a GameCube controller with the GameCube adapter, it just reads it as being a generic USB controller. I don't know if I can, actually. It's very likely that I can, and I just don't know how to do it offhand. Because I didn't think about it. And there we go. We've got the speed booster, and we are going to be using it. Hold that button. And this lava is coming up behind us, but look at that speed. Oh, yes. The speed booster is a powerful piece of equipment. And we're going to see more of its true power in a moment here when we go to... when we go to that room that we saw earlier that I said we could get through here, but it would be not worth the effort. She's going fast enough. She can definitely escape the police on foot while they're in the car. Maybe not in the spaceship, but... is the frame rate a bit janky? It might be. I don't particularly notice, but it very well could be an issue. Also, yeah, we just rip right through those parasites instantly with our speed booster, so that's pretty great. Let's save up. Oh, maybe we could have saved earlier, and that... oh, right, the power bomb room doesn't lead to a save point. It leads to the map facility. I'm dumb. Looks like it goes down when I go through. That's weird. Oh, is that causing lag? That's a little... That's weird, because... Yeah. Well, I'm getting a little bit of, like, graphical funk here, but I think it's just because of the positioning of the parallax background. Not even... Parallax background? I don't even think I want to call it a parallax background, but the background and the height of these rooms, like, when I hit my head, it looks like it vibrates a little bit. So that's pretty funky. Alright, so we can't go in that... Well, we can go in that room, but we can't really solve it yet, is the issue. Let's let our little fiery crawlers get past. Because we want to come over here to get the item. Not at the top of the screen, we get the ice beam. And the ice beam does exactly what you think it does, and it changes the sound of our gunshots. Let's take a quick look at it without the spazer on, just for fun. Well, okay, it changes half of the sound of our gunshots. 4 times damage. Well, if they're dragon flying, yes. Or dragon ground, or one of the other type. Yeah, flying, dragon, ground, and ice is really good against one other type, I think. I now have forgotten. That's good. Oh yeah, grass. Grass dragon, which... That exists now. There's Alolan Executor. Ground dragon is Flygon, and, like, maybe something else. I don't remember. It seems like kind of an unusual type. Are there more grass dragons besides Alolan Executor? Oh yeah, that's right. The apples are grass dragon. You are correct. I forgot about that for some reason. Probably because Appleton just looks like a turtle. Turtle dog. And Flapple, I battled a trainer who had a Flapple, like, yesterday. I think it was because I did the tag team tournament. And so Raihan had one. So it's weird that I forgot immediately afterwards that that's even a Pokemon. But, oops, I guess. Also, yes, brief thing to mention that is one of those minor things, but definitely something worthy of note. In this game, this is a thing that is true of this as opposed to Metroid 2. When a sprite goes off screen, it goes back to moving and everything, and, you know, updating and counting down its lifespan for items, and... Oh, I think my dog is freaking out in the other room. Eh. Alright, so I'm trying to remember how to get to the next boss, who is going to give us the grapple beam. Oh, Crocomire. Okay, right, we go this way. I thought it was to the left instead, because I'm... Oh, we're stuck here. Okay, never mind. Disregard what I was thinking before. Let's look at our map. Do we have any, like, obvious directional routes that I've Missed. Do I need the power bombs for that, actually? Come to think of it. I think I'll go get the power bombs anyway, because they would definitely help. We're seeing a reasonable amount of those yellow doors. It's a wrestling move. Well, I suppose you're not wrong. Well, I mean, she's never been given much of a chance to. Then again, they do a lot of the, like, physical counterattack type of stuff in some of the newer 2D games, like Samus Returns. Which is so weird of a concept because, you know, Samus has always just shot people. And I believe that that kind of mechanic is in Metroid Dread. At least it sure looked like it in the trailers. So that'll be something that I'll get to play around with for the first time because I've never played Samus Returns. That might be interesting. But then again, she was in Smash, so I guess, you know, makes sense for her to have a more physical moveset because she was not just projectile spam in Smash, although she was good at that. And still is. Yeah, see, we really need the power bomb to get in there. But what we want for now is to climb up this shaft. Freeze the rippers as we go. Use them as platforms. Well, that's a good question. I'd say clearly they need to scale up the balls so that way it can be like the size for her to like sit in it or something. But at that point, it would not be as useful for sneaking through passages, so maybe not so much. Yeah, yellow door behind us. They're saying, hey, make sure you get the power bombs or you're stuck here. That wouldn't be much fun. Although I guess, you know, if you're turning end over end like that, that's not going to be good for any part of your body, that's for sure. Least of all, any of your constitution. But there we go. Here's our power bomb tank. So, there's an item behind this Chozo statue, if I recall correctly. But let's confirm, because we don't have that X-ray scope yet. And there we go. Get some more missiles. Yeah. $50 missiles is a pretty decent amount for now. Especially because we use so much charge beam most of the time. But, power bomb in hand, we can go back this way. And we're going to probably end up taking the long road. Yeah, we're going to skip doing that for now, because I think the elevator at the top of this room puts us basically like just to the right of the ship. Yes, here we go. Here's our first encounter with the large side hoppers. And you can see those things need a lot more beating on to kill. Let's crack the door open right now. This requires power bombs? This requires power bombs. Okay. Of course, it takes away most of the bridge, but we get another power bomb tank immediately. Yeah, that's right. Take that, super missiles. Don't have to wait another 45 minutes to find another one of those. But to be fair, The power bombs do require a bit more setup to use outside of combat than the super missiles do. So, I suppose it makes sense or something. I don't know. I don't know very much about game design, but I'll pretend that it makes sense at least. So, do this. Open the yellow door. Up we go. Oh, hey, look, yellow door sealed behind us. Well, it's a good thing we don't need to use that for a while. And this area, well, we saw a little bit of dampness down there, so I guess having crustaceans in the area makes a little more sense. Yeah, this is, like, literally right next to our ship. So we got that going for us. We might be able to go get the item that is down the Turian escape shaft that we saw early on behind a yellow door. Oh, right. We can run through these blocks with the speed booster. We can also, like, go in there if we want to, maybe. I wouldn't recommend it, but we could go in there. That's something you really want the screw attack for, though. Or far more power bombs than we have, that's for dang sure. One or the other. Preferably both. Fully restocked and saved. Let's go this way again. And try not to get killed when we go into that area, because that has a lot of acid, if I recall correctly. Nope, Samus doesn't carry any big guns on the ship, which, you know, I actually feel like some spaceship combat sequences would be pretty neat if not particularly in gameplay, then definitely as, like, cutscenes, right? I mean, it is a gunship, so it should have a gun somewhere, but as far as we've seen, not so much. Alright, here's where we want to be. I mean, that might be a bit of a stretch, but we're going to try this area out anyway. It's a good thing we just saved, like, I don't know, 45 seconds ago. Yeah, see, this area... Ooh, okay. Yeah, so this area... This would be a good place to have the plasma beam. Because this is where we are going to be attempting a shine spark if we can get enough of a running area for us to be on. Which means we need to freeze all these fuckers. That's not quite enough space. Yeah, the acid. Back up over here. Got it! Ooh! Well, check that out. Super missile. Yeah, that's definitely something we were a little under-equipped to deal with, but it was still nice to get it anyway. And oh, shit on a stick. That's not so bad, actually. It just looked a lot scarier because I thought it was going to be a much longer suicide run there, but no such misfortune to be had here. Oh. Up we go. Stick, please. Alright. Kengan Ashura on Netflix. No, I have not seen that. Might be something for me to look into at some point. I'm really bad about remembering to watch, like, any sort of episodic thing, though, or anything at all, really. Nowadays, I mostly just watch YouTube stuff. Most of which is YouTube stuff I've seen before, too, so... Baki the Grappler, that's one I actually have heard name dropped before. So... that's one I could probably look into a little more easily, I guess. Or something. Alright, come on, refill me a little faster. Come on, guys. Is it necessary to make this slow? The answer is probably yes. Alright, now we start running. And yeah, no problem there. Up we go, up we go, up we go. At this end, here's a super missile. Yeah, as you can tell, if you get that, you can do a massive sequence break by skipping Spore Spawn and just cutting straight downstairs. But over here, there's an interesting item as well. That is a reserve tank. This is basically the equivalent to a sub-tank in the Mega Man X series, except it is usually operated automatically. So when you run out of energy, it will eject its contents and refill you. It's a pretty neat thing. Not usually super helpful, but they're there. You know, I won't complain about it. Oh, I mean, well, maybe it feels like that sometimes. But not quite. We're not going to power bomb to go down there just yet because I suck at wall jumps and you have to do that to get out unless you have the space jump. So we'll come back to that after we have the space jump. But anyway, let's check out this area, and you can see it's going to be a bit of a dead end. We've got that funny looking bird over there. And there's our energy recharge station mentioned earlier. So let's get a look at this funky looking bird. And see, that's supposed to basically give you some instructions about how to do the Shine Spark, but of course, we've already seen how to do that. Also, that bird probably doesn't take damage from doing that. Rude little bastard. Alright. This room, I think we also need the grapple beam to actually do anything. Well, I mean, we didn't really get to see that, so the bird probably went through the ceiling and, you know, maybe didn't get stuck there. Who knows? Hard to say on that one. Well, it came back, so. Not quite. Now down here we remember there was a power bomb thing we could get. Crack the end of that tube open and down we go into the deep recesses of here. This might be impossible to do until we have the gravity suit. Because this strikes me as an area where you would want to be speed boosting. I mean, certainly, yeah, okay, we really need the gravity suit to do this, so this was a bit of a waste of time, but just note that it's there, I suppose. The gravity suit, which I think we could probably go get now. Because we're pretty much geared that we could go to the wrecked ship. It just would be a little easier if we had the grapple beam, which is one of those things that probably sounds a little bit insane because the grapple beam is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to use. But trust me, it will be easier to go certain places with the grapple beam than it will without. And over here... Oh, would you look at that? Well, first of all, the side hopper ambush is not exactly appreciated, but this is a secret passage to old Blue Brinstar, and we get ourselves another power bomb tank. And frankly, we would really rather have more energy than we do right now for the item that we're... Oh, right, there's an energy tank in that room. I forgot, because we have to actually pick that up. We couldn't actually pick that up before, rather. Oh, I thought I was far enough in the door that momentum would take me through. Whoops. Whoops! There we go. So the item up there, I think, requires the gravity suit as well, so we're going to come back for that later. But we did get ourselves an energy tank. We got a nice bit of stuff. We still have some more things that we can get on the way back to Norfair. Doing this little circle is not a bad idea. Plenty of nice bonuses. Can I get through this with a regular bomb, or does it have to be a power bomb? No, it can be a regular bomb. That's perfectly fine, because it's flanked on both sides by power bomb gating, so... Alright. And we're back over here. Oh, we can't get that. Oh well. Oh no, we jumped the next spot down. Right. That would be a lot easier to get up to if we had the ledge grabbing mechanic that exists in Metroid Fusion, but whatever, we got ourselves some more missiles. And let's get our asses down to the red zone again. Stay open, please. And you can see that thing just got vaporized instantly. Thanks for the return on the power bomb. Let's go in here. This is an area where they really want you to have the grapple beam, if I recall correctly. But we might be able to make it through without. However, the fact that it's a Firefly-based room does kind of suck. Okay, no, we definitely need the grapple beam for this. Never mind. Unless... Not quite. I see a problem there, because we pulled it off. But we immediately took damage from the spikes. Which, you know, whatever. It's 30 damage. It's a lot, but it's the recoil that sucks for us. I'll try this again, though. You know what, forget it. I'll come back with a grapple beam. Oh, we can freeze the fire fleas. That might actually help us out here a little bit. Get back over there. Where's the waiver? It's going to have gone a little bit further back now, that's for sure. And well, I heard something get frozen. Yeah, that doesn't come down low enough, does it? I would really, really need that waiver, and I don't know where it went. Yeah, so that's... I thought that was much more doable without the grapple beam, but I was wrong. As you can tell. Good thing there's an energy recharge station right here. Alright, let's get back to Norfair. Oh yeah, that thing's jaws don't have a hitbox like that. Just a sec, everybody. Alright. So, now we have to figure out how to get to Crocomire. Because I don't remember offhand where he is. I think he's in the... Like, I think you come back from that fight through a similar path to the one that we ran through earlier to the save point, but not exactly... Oh, right, we can... Well, we can make things a little bit easier for us with this. As Crocomire is in a big, wide room, so we can find that fairly readily. Okay, so Crocomire is going to be down the lower right of the shaft, to the lower right of that room, down that 3-block room, that nice wide room with the 2 white dots in it. That's where Crocomire hangs out. But of course, we can't go through the absolute bottom of the shaft. We have to go past the save point up here, basically. So we go here. Well, we should save because we've gotten a decent chunk of stuff. And then we pop back in and speed booster is go. We just rip right through. So we should now be able to do something like... Alright, so we can't go that way. We have to go... looks like... Well, it looks like you'll pick it up as we get over there. Looks like I should stop falling in the damn lava, that's for sure. Okay, so we want to go down and to the left, and I believe that we can go through a door over this... No, we can't! Fuck. It's the other way, isn't it? I have to go back up and to the left in the shaft. Man, it's really easy to get lost around here. Right, because there were power bomb blocks in the room that was leading over to the ice beam, right? I am remembering that correctly. I hope. Yeah, so this is where we need to go, right? I think so. Yeah, we got these weird little fire flying flame dudes. And another couple of the Norfair side hoppers. Yeah. And yeah, this room, which is full of the platforms that are just made of crumbling blocks. We can just run through all these bright red space pirates. This is the room I was thinking of earlier. Right. Yeah. You can tell why I was thinking of that being similar to that other room that we speed boosted through. So before we use that save... You know what, this isn't too hard to get to, so I'm not going to save. Besides, Crocomire is an odd dude, but not a super hard boss. So the Crocomire fight is kind of like Kraid if Kraid didn't have a dedicated health bar. Crocomire, you could theoretically fight forever and not kill him. Because instead of doing real damage to him, although certain abilities like really fuck him up, like the plasma beam will do weird things to him if I recall correctly. But, you know, getting the plasma beam here, that's a bit of a sequence break, to say the least. So, what I meant to say is that Crocomire, as you can see, Crocomire is just backing up every time we shoot him in the mouth. And our goal is just going to be to get him onto those weird barrel-looking blocks. You can see they start cracking under his feet. And into the goop he goes. Oh, somebody's having a bad time. That is gory as fuck for the Super Nintendo. Although it did look like it glitched out a little bit too, so that's unfortunate. Uh-oh. Now this is another moment that'll scare the living shit out of you. Whoa! Suddenly Crocomire's skeleton comes back and tries to go for one final desperation move, but it's not enough. Crocomire just cannot hold it together and falls on top of you harmlessly. Samus doesn't take damage from bones for some reason. Wait a second. Isn't the grapple beam right up there? Or do we have to go through the rest of this loop? Either way, killing Crocomire was an important part of getting the grapple beam. I'm not going to save just yet. Although I probably should because, you know, even though Crocomire was piss easy as we could see, the rest of the area is way more dangerous than that. So, if I just go like, whatever, then that's probably a good sign that I will get murdered. But you know what? We're gonna play with fire a little bit here. We're gonna sneak past this acid. And this is just gonna lead us to a missile tank? That's a shame. I don't remember ever having seen this room. Alright. Oh. Okay, so this is familiar that you have this room before you get the grapple beam. Again, this is where it's coming in that I haven't played this game in a very long time, huh? Because, yeah, I really haven't. It's been a couple years. These blow up with power bombs. Okay. So we go over here. I think we have enough space to do this. Make a big leap. And there it is. The grappling beam, as it's called in this game. It's called the grapple beam in every later Metroid game that it shows up in. But simple utility. Looks like a taser. Well, looks looks like what people think a taser looks like, I should say. Because, of course, a taser, it doesn't literally shoot electricity. It shoots little wires, basically. And you can deal some damage with the grappling beam, just not a lot. And most importantly, they give you a little space to practice in and get the, you know, get the feeling of things, get into the swing of things, as it were. And learn these mechanics. They don't introduce the cracking blocks here, though. And you have to go back upstairs in order to discover that you can grapple onto the weird colored rippers. And see, these things, they operate as moving grapple points. Later they became the gliders in Metroid Prime. Or basically did, anyway. And for our effort of learning how to do the thing, we got ourselves a power bomb tank. Nice. But with all this stuff in hand, there are some neat things we can go do. And I am going to do that after I save. The most important thing that we can do right now before we move on to the wrecked ship is we can get the wave beam. The second most important thing we can do after that is move on to the wrecked ship. But there is also an energy tank, I believe, in... Get out from under there, Samus. That's pretty horrifying. Also, speaking of horrifying, Crocomyre's skeleton is still here. Just, you know, just hanging out. Get... Ah, crud. Oh, buddy. That's not so good. Yeah, so doing multiple grapples, it can get a little bit hectic sometimes. We got ourselves our energy tank. We've got 5 so far. That's pretty good. It's over there. I don't know offhand. I think it's missiles. Alright. Save it up, and... climb our way back up here. Pause for just a second. And yeah, you can see, indeed, we're going where I thought we were going before as our little exit here for Crocomire. Crud, my chat window was not visible on screen on my PC. I had to unbury it. Whoops. I like to know what's going on over there. Alright, we're up to 65 missiles, I think, is where we're at, which is not bad. having a lot of regular missiles is going to be good for an upcoming fight. Is the main thing I can tell you at the moment. If you've played this game, you know. If you haven't, well, I'll show you when we get there. We go, up we go. And here is where we want to start doing our thing. Pull this out. And see, it operates like a regular beam. We can open that gate with the grapple beam. Maybe it's not the best way we can do it, but it is a way we can do it. And there's me screwing up my controls a little bit. In we go. And hey, look at that. It's another beam upgrade. It's the wave beam. Oh, yes. And we all know Moonsidian loves themselves a wave beam. Look at that. It's wavering. And more to the point, it'll go through any wall, not just the couple that the spacer decides it wants to go through. Also gives us a nice chunk of damage. The beam stacking ability in this game means that you can really put the hurt on people once you start getting geared. And yeah, that was a bit of lag on my end too, so don't worry. That's, well, don't worry like that, I guess, is the thing. So now that we have the wave beam, we're gonna go and we're gonna pick up a couple of goodies here and there before we head to the wrecked ship. Because there's a lot of exploration that we can do in this game, and we should do a lot of it. And I did something real stupid here by not, come on, can we get this thing in a good position for us to, like, high jump onto it? Not quite. That'll do. So that's how you get over here without the grapple beam for a free missile tank. Let's go through here. Red space pirates are not really a big deal. Although, yeah, the space pirates do get a little bit stronger as they go in terms of the color coordination. There's a set much later on that are pink that are practically invincible to everything but the plasma beam, but we will see those when we see them. There was another area that was previously wave beam locked. Is it just going this way? Is this just a route for one of those things? I think it is. Yikes! Wow, okay. You guys are a little bit big hitboxed. Yeah, so that route really is just back and forth between an energy recharge station, which... What a thing to put there. I believe at the bottom of this room, which is power bomb locked, pardon me. This leads the way to Ridley's lair. If I'm not mistaken. Let's take a quick look in here. Yeah, with the lava and all of this going on. And look at this dragon head. Yeah, this is definitely where Ridley hangs out. He, much like Kraid, does like the idea of having that big old statue head entrance. That's going to do it for this area for now. We are done in Norfair until it's time to go fight Ridley, which is going to be a little while from now. We want a certain other item to give us a little bit of assistance there. And it does feel good to be able to say that about any part of the game, that we can take a temporary leave of absence from the area, especially around here, because this place, ugh. I don't want any. Sheesh. Before we go back, though, there are a couple of things that we can grab in Brinstar. So we may as well go do that. For a start, there's the X-ray scope, which I've mentioned a couple of times throughout. There's that power bomb door. In the pink area. There's the other grapple point in the pink area. And I think that's going to be it for now in terms of things to get out of there. We can struggle with wall jumping for a little bit in the Edikun area and pick up an energy tank and some extra stuff. Other extra stuff, rather. But I don't feel like doing that. Wall jumping. What a mechanic. Who thought that was a good idea? Oh, right. Well, it is a good idea if you're halfway competent at them, but unfortunately, you're talking to the wrong person if you want that. Which I think is literally the phrase that I used the last time it came up. Oh yeah, I can only imagine. I was gonna say I can only imagine just running the gauntlet here with without the grapple beam. Fuck! Get off me, please. Come on, man. There's no need for that. So this is a neat looking room just in general. Up we go. And down. And there we go. The X-ray scope. A very handy but completely optional item that is gonna help us out a little bit. To use it, you press down the dash button. And you can see there's a whole path to get out of this room. This is a great way to find a bunch of secret stuff. Oh, it's a good thing I had that reserve tank. Get off of the damn spikes. Yikes. Oh god, why'd I hit the button? Yeah, we died. Well, yeah, slight problem there that of course I can't do a suspend menu while I'm in this condition. How far back are we? We should at least have that thing, right? We have the grapple beam. Did we get the wave beam? Did I save after getting the wave beam? No, I didn't save after getting the wave beam. Whoops, but we did get the energy tank. So, going back and re-getting the wave beam is not terribly difficult. Just have to remember to save again closer to the thing. I probably thought there was another save point closer. Either that or I just changed what I was gonna do. Actually, you know what would have been really smart? There was an energy recharge station at the bottom of that shaft, and I forgot about it entirely. Yeah. So, good work, me. Actually, wait a second. I forgot. I have a thing I can do in response to what just happened a moment ago. Newly added earlier today because it's funny. Unfortunately, I just did not remember to do it until then. question now is, did we miss any missiles? Well, there's that one up there, but we'll get to that in a moment. More importantly, we reobtain the wave beam. We go back, we recollect the missiles. And we go back for our goodies and Brinstar. Alright. Now, this time, let's not be stupid. Let's remember to save. Not here, though. We're going to save closer to the exit of Norfair, because honestly, we should. We did not get that missile pack, so actually, we are going to go and get that. Because we may as well not leave that behind. And I was wondering if I was missing a missile. Turns out the answer is yes. Yay! There's our missile back. Now we get out of the pit, we go save, and then we start doing our thing again. We go get the X-ray scope, a couple of items, and I think we can probably squeeze in the wrecked ship before the end of the stream. Or at least enough to go beat the boss. Enough of that, buddy. I don't know why the screes shoot shrapnel now when they die. That's a very weird change. But alright, guys. I guess it's to match with how they died after they dropped in the previous game. By previous game, I mean game that was 2 games ago at this point. Whatever. Fuck. Turn around, place. There we go. That's better. Heck. Really don't like the yapping maws because they tend to pull you back. Also the fact that if you grapple onto the wrong block, you can just graze them while they're in standby mode. That's a little rude. Oh, well that was strange. All right. This time we have much more energy, so escaping this should be much easier. I learned my lesson, but also fuck these guys. Coming waiver party. Up we go, up we go, up we go. Alright, now there's no reason to keep going back up the shaft right now. We can go backwards, however, because we have the wave beam. Pop ourselves up here, and up, up, up. I'll take that energy, thank you. I remember there's big side hoppers waiting for us in this room. Well, there's a big side hopper and a couple of regular ones. Still. Ugh, excuse me. So in here we can do something pretty unique with his grappling block because of that. Whee! And yeah, we needed the wave beam to do this anyway, so... This might actually be an alright position, because we can re-grapple eventually. And we can fuck up the timing. That's always something we can do, I mean... Need to have that held down, or that'll be a little more comfortable on my knuckle. Wonder if we can just make a straight upward jump there to get out of that. But we got ourselves an energy tank. That's nice. I didn't know that that's what we were getting. X-ray scope real quick. Oh, right, wrong button. Okay, yeah, so we can plant a bomb to break the blocks around those spikes for some reason. That's very weird. And this thing is going to take us upward. And we're back in here. As we really expected to be, but also... Feels like it's been a while, even though it really hasn't. Alright, grapple out, and... Bzz. See? Much easier than doing a double wall jump. However, at this point, the missiles are not nearly as important to us as they would have been earlier on. Oh well. That's a pretty funky positioning right there, so let's get a look. Yeah, that wall is not really a wall, it's a door. And who knows what treasures may await at the end. Other than giant side hoppers, because, duh. I mean, come on, at this point. A power bomb tank. All right. I'll take one of those. That puts us up to, what? 25 power bombs total? Hey, no need for the spring ball. That's nice. And out we go. To a door that we could not access earlier. Oh. Oops. Oh. Forget it. Let's just do one of these. We got plenty at this point. Incidentally, I think Tev liked the game over. Yeah, that's... Good use to the bot, buddy. Well, clearly it is. Alright. So there we are, finally getting back out to the surface here on Crateria. And we can save at the ship. We can go to the other ship, the wrecked ship, which not our ship at all. It's just a ship. And we can have a time there, that's for sure. Probably getting our asses handed to us a little bit, but we'll see. And here we go. Back onto a place that we are familiar with. And here we go, a gap that we, air quotes, need the grapple beam for, although, really, we can do this with the speed booster. Also, this is our first introduction to those cracked grapple beam blocks. If you stick on them for too long, they will break for a little bit, as you can get a look at there. So hey, now they're timing you for this. And there we go. There's one of those. Glider or whatever you want to call it. And we fell in the water. And we were like one screen away. Well, whoops. This would be a lot easier and faster to recover from if it weren't for the fact that we moved so slowly in the water without the gravity suit. Also, I'm trying to be careful that I don't take too much air with the grapple flings, just because I don't want to go all the way across the darn map. No. Don't want to accidentally throw myself into a hole either, because that's a thing that could very easily happen. And here we are in the wrecked ship. The power is out, and there is only so much we can do. Like, this door is open, but I don't think this leads to anything of any real importance. It leads to a save station, and it doesn't work. The save station doesn't have any electricity, so that's a good reason to save at your ship here before you come here. Also, we got these ghosts trying to attack us. It's a haunted wrecked ship, too. Wonder if the boss is going to be a big ghost or something. And they take a not insignificant amount of damage to kill. Re-kill, I guess. They are ghosts. Hey. Who said you could appear on top of me? That's just rude. We come down here. We got these weird robot things. They are disabled. Break open the eyeball, and we get ourselves another major boss fight. Oh, those hurt you right away. This is it. This is the second big boss fight of the game. This is Phantoon. Now, Phantoon is the first and maybe even only boss fight in this game that has a major, like, trap mechanic for new players, and I'm going to demonstrate it only once. Do not shoot a super missile at Phantoon because he gets pissed. He starts doing this at you for like a million years. And I mean, yeah, the super missile does a lot of damage. It's a super missile, but it's not worth it because you have to deal with that, and your options for clearing it all out at that point are not really very many. Instead, you really just want to shoot him with regular missiles. Okay, you can come out anytime, buddy. And after that, he will go in for a swoop. And you can... You can usually get a couple more regular super missile hits in after that, but you can see that when he's doing the ring attack, the time that you have to land hits is pretty thin. Alright, so he's going to do this again. You know, we've got a ton of missiles. I was going to say, let's just get these out and use them to hit the blue fires. But that seems to not be very worth it. Also, yeah, I'm taking a lot of damage here. Phantoon does hurt quite a bit. Those blue fireballs are doing 20 a hit. Oh. I didn't think that through. I didn't think he'd be sticking around. Yeah, charge beam shot in. Oh, he's cutting ahead in his pattern much quicker now. Because his health is so low, probably. Either that or it's some weird RNG thing. I don't know offhand. I think there is some RNG involved with that, but we've finally got Phantoon down, and it took a lot of our health in the process. Phantoon is probably one of the toughest bosses in the game. I mean, yes, the other bosses technically have better stats and stuff, but you usually have better gear by then and more, like, good ways to dodge attacks. Phantoon, meanwhile, is just kind of an asshole. Fight him in very tight quarters. You don't have a space jump, you don't have a screw attack, you don't have, like, anything, really, that can bail you out, and armor-wise, you're on just the Varia suit. That's not a great time for nobody. This room is full of water, and with that setup, that's telling us, hey, you really want some gravity suit, because you want to be able to run through that, so we're going to skip that for a moment. We're going to save, and we're going to see if we can't find ourselves the gravity suit in this general area. This is a place where I tend to forget how to get to things, because it tends to be a little unusual and not super obvious necessarily. Alright, so we got the enhanced versions of these dudes. Because these really need to be upgraded. Do we exit to the right? Well, we can't yet. We have to clear the area. So we should definitely pop open all the doors once we do that. Let's go this way, at least for a start. These robots don't take real damage, but they do take pushback when you shoot them. Kind of reminiscent of Crocomire in a way, but only vaguely, and really more of that's down to, you know, it's a very basic thing. Anyway, we get a missile. Neat, I guess. Let's start scoping through the area. Yeah, no need to rush things. Too much, anyway. This is a place where the X-ray scope really comes in handy. This room, however, there aren't really secrets. There's just enemies for us to kill. Which, you know, very underwhelming secret, right? Okay, we don't need that out right now. Let's take a look at where we are on the map. Okay, so if I recall correctly, actually, you see that little 2-block enclosure in the map there? In the middle of this room? I think that is where we want to go. And this room is going to start giving us access to that. You see, we drop down here, and it's this tiny little hallway. As we go along the top of this is a maze. And this is a place where this would come in handy, so that way we can find an inlet. And our inlet's going to be right there. There's a missile pack over this way. Just have to search out the right path. Okay, so we want to go from up above to get to that. Yeah, see, there it is. There's some missiles. May as well get them while we're here. It won't hurt us, that's for sure. You'll also notice how much easier it is for us to turn into a ball in midair in this game. Let's not underestimate that ability. Alright, so we got a couple of these beetles. We can farm these for some health. Oh, and they're gonna give us super missiles. That's nice of them. So in here we've got, well, we've got an enemy that we basically saw in Metroid 2. And we got water. Slowly rising and falling in a fairly non-threatening manner, actually. Also, what's this dude doing up here? It's dead now. You could probably run across the spikes and get away with it, just barely, but they really want you to know how to use the grapple beam by this point. You ball up inside of the standing statue's hand, you know, because hopefully you understand that it fits, that it should have a ball in the hand. And it's gonna walk, it's gonna smash those spikes. I'm kind of impressed with that. And oh, our camera's lowering. Oh, is it going under the floor? It's going under the floor. It's taking us to a secret room. I like how they have that little crumbling block under there. It just falls away. That's pretty good. And there it is, folks. The gravity suit. Oh, yes. This gives us an even bigger defensive boost, and we turn purple. Oh, this thing looks so good in this game. Like, the gravity suit in the other games is pretty great, but in Metroid, in Super Metroid, the purple gravity suit, oh yes, it is fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, look at this. We are unimpeded by water. And we can run around. Do all kind of stuff underwater. And we can go this way, and we can go back to that area that I mentioned before that we couldn't really do a whole lot with. I forget how much there is to explore in the wrecked ship, by the way, but I think there's only a little bit more for us to do here. For a start, we can take a bunch of damage from these spikes. We're taking 15 a spike now instead of 30. Go over here, and this way leads outside the ship. This is another entrance to Meridia, but it's not going to be one that we deal with for a while. Is this another grappling room? Yes, this is another room where they really want you to be able to use the grapple beam effectively. Yeah, because it's a floor full of spikes. And we got a Chozo statue with a free energy tank for us, just standing there. Making you think you can ball up in its hand. And no. No such luck. Okay, now you can relax there, Spikes. How many times do you need to hit me for, like, no damage? Oh, right, this is the way out. Go the other way. Out this way. And here's this room where we usually just take a bunch of damage to get through. You probably could have gotten through that without the gravity suit, but it wouldn't have been very fun. So this should be the last area of the wrecked ship that we can really search. Because, of course, there's going to be nothing going on in the Phantoon area. Well, actually, there's a map station. There's a couple more rooms that I've missed. Wow. Right, because there's... I remember that there's a room that has, like, basically just a free super missile in it. If I recall correctly, which is not really a bad thing to get for free, so... That's right, it's right over here, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's the room with all the electricity. And it's just a free super missile tank. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Now there should be just one more thing, which is going to be up at the top of this shaft. Oh, I don't need to be in the save room right now. Not useful at this point. Maybe later. Wait a second. We have to come in from the other side on this one, right? I believe that to be the case as well. I say as if there's somebody else who's, you know, having that conversation with me, right? I'm talking to myself now. Ooh. If people didn't know I wasn't necessarily super attached to reality. Hmm? Alright, well, there's a reserve tank. Get up to it. Interesting. Yeah, I think this is done a little differently from how I'm remembering. It shouldn't be a requirement for us to go back to the gravity suit room. We should just be able to do this, and then there should be a secret room that we can get into. Or maybe we do have to go into the gravity suit room and it's like behind it or something. Either way, what I believe they want you to do is they want you to shine spark up to that reserve tank. From a room below it. Which, for all I know, that could be over there. I mean, that is the room that makes the most sense. So I'm going to actually go ahead and try that real quick. Oh, also, that's the thing I don't think I mentioned. If you leave enemies that spawn out of pipes or background details that are, you know, serving the same general function, if you leave their drops behind, then more enemies will not spawn. I don't 100% know why this is, but it is, so... Let's take advantage. Alright, so that's not how you get to this. Huh. Well. Time to go back and... yeah. Oh, am I gonna have to actually go through this way? Well, that's okay, but... you know, rewatching the cutscene, well, I feel a little silly. Especially it's got that much of a wind up to it. Alright, well, with my not knowing how to do that right now, I think that after I go find a save point, will actually do it for us for this evening. Wait a second, is there like a good way to get out of this? Other than wall jumping, which we know is an option, but... Let's see if I can blow this up or something. Base. Yes, I can. Okay. Good. I was worried for a second there, because otherwise that's a very technical jump for them to expect you to be able to do. I mean, what do we think this is? A ROM hack? No, 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 no. It's... this isn't a ROM hack, I swear, even though Nintendo has released some games that basically are ROM hacks before. Of existing games. Ocarina of Time Master Quest being an example of that. But we're fully healed, fully resupplied. Let's save. And that's it for the evening. We'll continue this probably on Wednesday again.